Have you ever heard of Jordan Peterson? Chances are you have, as this clinical psychologist and professor has made waves in the media for his controversial views on a wide range of topics, from personal responsibility to freedom of speech. But while he has gained a large following, he has also faced a significant amount of hatred and criticism from those who disagree with him. Some people feel very strongly that Jordan Peterson is a dangerous and divisive figure. There are some who like him, but some people feel very strongly that Jordan Peterson is a dangerous and divisive figure. His opposition ranges from those who believe that he has an outdated, conservative worldview, to others who argue that his views on psychology are unscientific and potentially harmful.
This is what I'm saying to you. Why the rage, bruh? You're doing well, but you're a mean man.
So why do some people hate Jordan Peterson? Who is Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist and professor who has gained a significant following for his views on a wide range of topics, including personal responsibility, psychology, philosophy, and current events. But where did he come from and how did he become a public figure? Peterson was born in Alberta, Canada, and received his undergraduate degree in psychology from the University of Alberta. He went on to earn his PhD in clinical psychology from McGill University and has worked as a professor at the University of Toronto since 1998. But before he worked at the University of Toronto, he worked at Harvard for 5 years, first as an assistant professor and later as an associate professor. Psychologist Shelley Carson, former PhD student and now professor at Harvard, recalled that Peterson's lectures had something akin to a cult following, stating, "I remember students crying on the last day of class because they wouldn't get to hear him anymore." In addition to his academic career, Peterson has also worked as a clinical psychologist helping individuals with a variety of mental health issues. One of the main reasons why some people hate Jordan Peterson is due to early controversies and misunderstandings that surrounded him. One of the most well-known controversies was his stance on the use of pronouns in relation to transgender individuals.
Let's say you have a non-standard gender identity. Hey, what the hell are other people supposed to do about that? Like, what are the rules here, right? Because if you're a woman, I kind of know how to treat you. I'm going to do it in a stereotyped way to begin with because I don't know who the hell you are, so I'm going to use, low resolution approximations, and those are going to be stereotypes. They're no different than categories. And then when I get to know you, I'll particularize it. But if I don't know whether you're male or female, what the hell should I do with you?
Peterson argued that the Canadian government's proposed Bill C-16, which added gender identity and expression as protected grounds under the Canadian Human Rights Act, would infringe upon his freedom of speech by requiring him to use certain pronouns. This led to accusations of transphobia and a backlash from the LGBTQ+ community and their allies. Since then, Peterson has addressed a variety of topics in his work, including personal responsibility, psychology, philosophy, and current events. He presents his views through a variety of mediums, including lectures, interviews, and social media. His views have garnered a significant following, particularly among young men who may be drawn to his ideas about personal responsibility and individual freedom. Another controversy that garnered a lot of attention was Peterson's views on political correctness. He argued that the concept of political correctness was stifling free speech and creating a culture of victimhood. While some people saw this as a necessary pushback against the suppression of certain groups, others saw it as an attack on marginalized communities and a justification for hate speech. It's understandable that these early controversies and misunderstandings surrounding Jordan Peterson would lead to negative opinions from some people. However, it's important to remember that they represent just a small part of his views and beliefs. It is also worth noting that there are different perspectives on these issues and that it's important to consider the full context and complexity of the issues involved. For example, those who support Peterson may argue that the government's proposed Bill C-16 was an infringement on freedom of speech, and that it's important to have open and respectful discussions about the use of pronoun. On the other hand, those who criticize Peterson may argue that his views are transphobic and that using preferred pronouns is a matter of respect and inclusion for the LGBTQ+ community. Ultimately, it's up to individuals to decide where they stand on these issues and to consider all sides of the argument. Different perspectives on Peterson's views. It is important to recognize that there are many different perspectives on Jordan Peterson's views, and that these perspectives are influenced by a variety of factors, including personal experiences and backgrounds. Those who support Peterson may argue that his emphasis on personal responsibility and individual freedom is a refreshing change in today's society, where many people seem to be looking for someone else to blame for their problems. They may also appreciate his critiques of political correctness and the importance he places on free speech. On the other hand, those who criticize Peterson may argue that his views are harmful and dangerous. particularly to marginalized communities. They may also argue that his critiques of political correctness are an attack on the progress made towards equality and inclusion, and that free speech should not be used as an excuse to promote hate speech and discrimination. It's worth considering how different life experiences and backgrounds may influence how someone views Peterson's views. For example, someone who has personally benefited from the progress made towards equality and inclusion may have a different perspective on his critiques of political correctness than someone who has not. Similarly, someone who has experienced discrimination may view his views on personal responsibility differently than someone who has not. It's also important to recognize that the way in which Peterson's views are represented and the medium through which they are presented may affect how they are perceived by different people. For example, his views may be perceived differently when presented in a formal lecture setting versus when they are presented on social media. Finally, it's worth considering the potential consequences of Peterson's views being widely accepted or rejected, both in terms of individual behavior and societal changes. For example, if his views on personal responsibility were widely accepted, it could potentially lead to more individual accountability and self-improvement. However, if his views on certain social issues were widely rejected, it could lead to greater progress towards equality and inclusion. There are also his views on equal opportunity for women that made feminists label him as a misogynist. He said that scientific research showed equal opportunity for women will result in a greater difference between men and women. He argued that this is because men and women are fundamentally different. Basically, if men and women were given free choice, women will gravitate towards jobs that have been traditionally seen as women jobs, such as nursing, while men will gravitate towards traditionally men's jobs, such as engineering. And this has happened in Scandinavia, where they have the most equal opportunities for men and women in the world. There, the ratio of women to men in nursing is 20-1, and a similar ratio of men to women in engineering. Feminists labeled Peterson as a misogynist for this because they want an equal outcome, but Peterson and those agreeing with him argued that equality of outcome is impossible, and to strive for that is a fool's errand. The best we can do as a society is to give equal opportunity and let each individual choose freely what they want to do. It's worth noting that there are many different perspectives on Jordan Peterson's views, and it's important to consider all sides of the argument. However, it's also important to recognize that it's possible to disagree with someone without resorting to personal attacks or cancel culture. While differing perspectives on Jordan Peterson's views may lead to misunderstandings and further polarized opinions, another factor that has contributed to the negative opinions of some people is the way in which some of the criticism of Peterson has turned into personal attacks and how cancel culture has played a role in this. Cancel culture refers to the idea of ostracizing and boycotting someone, typically a public figure, due to their actions or views, often with the intention of ruining their career. In the case of Peterson, some of his critics have called for him to be cancelled and have accused him of promoting hate speech and discrimination. However, it's important to recognize that cancel culture can have negative consequences on free speech and intellectual discourse. When someone is cancelled, it becomes more difficult to have open and honest discussions about controversial topics, as people may be afraid to speak out for fear of being ostracized or cancelled themselves. This can lead to a stifling of ideas and a lack of progress on important issues. It's understandable to feel strongly about certain issues. It's important to approach discussions with respect and an open mind. This means listening to others and considering their perspective even if you disagree with them. It also means being willing to engage in respectful dialogue and being open to the possibility that your own views may evolve as a result of the discussion. It's worth noting that cancel culture is not limited to those who criticize Jordan Peterson. There have also been instances where his supporters have engaged in cancel culture against those who disagree with him. This only serves to further polarize the issue and to make it more difficult to have constructive discussions. It's important to recognize that there are many different perspectives on Peterson's views, and that it's impossible to disagree with someone without resorting to personal attacks or cancel culture. By approaching discussions with respect and an open mind, we can work towards a better understanding of each other and find common ground. Click like and share if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more videos like this one. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!